Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our December 21st council meeting. As we do at the start of each meeting, we have a short moment of private contemplation, so please join me. Thank you, everyone. And as this is the last council meeting before the holiday break and Christmas celebrations, members of council here are showing their true holiday spirit. And anyways, I'd just like to wish everybody all the best of the season and Merry Christmas. And thank you for all you're doing for our town, for the community. And it has been a tough year, but if we can remember the good things and enjoy our family and friends over this holiday period. And we do really have a lot to be thankful for, and we have to remember that, even though sometimes the news does seem overwhelming. But anyways, thank you everybody for joining us on Zoom, on YouTube for this council meeting. Councillor Dykey hasn't joined us yet. We'll see whether later on, but with his small business that he is busy at this time of year. So with that, I will reconvene the regular meeting. And we did have a closed session, and there are motions arising out of the closed session. So the recommendation is that council approve the transfer of land to Ministry of Transportation Ontario for the Bradford bypass, to Fox Valley Holdings Incorporated for road access in Bond Head, and the purchase of land from owners of 1450 River Road for the site triangle for River Road and Canal Road. So can I have a mover and a seconder for this? Councillor Sandu, Councillor Lamb, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So item 5, adoption of agenda. So recommendation that the regular council agenda dated December the 21st, 2021 be adopted as printed. Mover and a seconder for this? Councillor Orr, Councillor Contois. Any additions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. At this time, council, you may declare any pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Councillor Scott.
On item, sorry, I'm just looking it up. Item 15.3, the grants committee, I'm going to declare because I'm on the board of an applicant.
Okay, so noted. Thank you, Councillor Scott. So we'll move on. There are no presentations or deputations, so open forum. I'll ask our clerk if anybody has written in for open forum.
No, Your Worship, there's no submissions for open forum this evening.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 10.1, Committee of the Whole recommendations. So the recommendation is the committee recommendation COW 2021-101 to COW 2021-106 be approved, and the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting dated December 21st, 2021 be adopted as printed. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this? Deputy Mayor Leduc, Councillor Ferragini. Any items you wish pulled for further discussion or any comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Item 10.2, adoption of council meetings. The first recommendation is that the minutes of the regular council meeting dated December the 7th, 2021 be adopted as printed. A mover and a seconder for this? Deputy Mayor Leduc, Councillor Ferragini. Any comments? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. The next recommendation is that the minutes of the Special Council Public Planning Meeting dated December the 14th, 2021 be adopted as printed. A mover and a seconder for this, Councillor Lamb. Do you want to make a comment, Councillor Lamb?
Well, it's just that in that meeting, I declared a conflict because I have a couple of $100 shares at the curling club, and they're in the minutes, and I'm not certain because they changed the rules whether I'm allowed to vote on just adopting minutes as opposed to declaring a conflict again.
I don't know whether, Rebecca, whether you want to comment on that?
I certainly can. Our integrity commissioner has actually advised that adopting minutes is merely a procedural matter, and thus you don't have to declare. In addition, you are noted of declaring for the actual item for council's consideration.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for that, Rebecca. So a mover and a seconder for this recommendation. That Councillor Sandhu, Councillor Contois. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it is carried. There is no correspondence, so we'll move on to staff reports. So it's report of development and engineering services, and it's the Heritage Property Tax Rebate Program Bylaw housekeeping amendment. So the recommendation is that report DES 2021-59 entitled Heritage Property Tax Rebate Program Bylaw housekeeping amendment dated December 21st, 2021 be received, and that the bylaw amendment to bylaw 2020-75 be brought forward for enactment. So a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Orr, Deputy Mayor Leduc. Comments or questions? So we do have Brandon Slopak, our senior planner, with us. So I wonder, Brandon, whether you want to just highlight the changes and the reasoning for the changes?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so over the course of the first year of the program, we just realized we had the deadline being the end of December, and just through the process of working through it with interested parties and residents, we all know that December is a busy time of the year. People are focused on the holidays and not necessarily prepared to accumulate everything that's needed for making an application submission. So we felt it would be to the benefit of residents to extend the deadline to February 28th, which is the deadline by the province, just to give that extra wiggle room for to make that submission and make sure. And beyond that, it was really a matter of just cleaning up the bylaw. And the second edition of note was that we would provide an amendment to allow staff to make minor administrative changes. And an example of an administrative change would be, for instance, changing submission date deadline like this. So it's really just to make it such that we don't necessarily need to go to council for what would be really smaller administrative items in the future.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Your Worship. I'm all good with this. I was just going to ask Brendan, like, are you fine with the 28th? I was thinking, like, that's the provincial date, and I wondered if you want to. I'm suggesting the 27th, so that it gives you a day to play with something. Say somebody comes in very late and they're missing a piece of paper, or they come in the 28th, they're missing a piece of paper. They're going to miss the deadline altogether because that's the provincial deadline, and there's no changing that one. But I just wondered if it was better for us to move it back a day or two, and if somebody came in and they were missing a piece of paper, that they had a day to get the piece of paper, or are you confident, Brandon, that it's not a big deal and this should be this date should be fine for everybody? I know it's not a big clientele we're talking about, a large amount of people, but to give a day's grace in case they don't have the right proper paper and they come in on that last day, there's just no turning back. So I wondered if that was something that you want to think about. It's just kind of a question on my part to see that if we're happy with that date or not.
If I may, so I think the 28th works well. So the way it is written is that the submission only needs to be made on that date. We were thoughtful to make it not state complete application. So provided we are in receipt of the submission as of that date, hopefully it's a complete application and it's all tidied up, but at least we have that wiggle room in order to work with the residents if there's something that needs help. But the goal really of this is to provide a little bit of extra time to help the residents through during a less busy time of the year. So it's January, February. And with this present date in mind, I actually have a wad of envelopes ready right now to advertise the program. So people are going to be receiving this. And the hope is over next, I guess the first couple of weeks of January, anyone who's serious about submitting for the program will. And we'll be able to get this done thoroughly and efficiently early on in the year. And anyone who comes towards the end will work with them.
Thank you. I was just making sure that there was a proper time, but Brandon's explained it well, so I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. And Brandon, I guess the County of Simcoe is on board with this. They're going to match ours. Has that been finalized and that's part of the program? Is that right, Brandon?
Yes, that is per the program. So as a follow-up to this is I need to notify the county, the Ontario Heritage Trust, and I think one other party of the amendment. Likely that'll actually only occur once we enact the new bylaw. So we'll pass that. We'll send a copy of the bylaw, this report, and it'll be a tidy package, and it should be ready for early in the new year.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So 12.2, Report of Economic Development, and it's the Downtown CIP application, DCIP 2021-08, Higgins, DCIP 2021-09, Jennings, and DCIP 2021-10, Tambor. So the recommendation is that report OED 2021-08, entitled Downtown Community Improvement Plan Applications, DCIP 2021-08, Higgins, DCIP 2021-09 Jennings, and DCIP 2021-10 Tambor be received, and the council approved the Higgins application for 21 Holland Street West under the Downtown Community Improvement Plan for $15,000 under Program 1 Facade, Landscape, and Signage Grant. And the council approved the Jennings application for 16 John Street West under the Downtown Community Improvement Plan for $20,000 under Program 1 Facade, Landscape, and Signage Grant. And the council approved the Tambor application for 66 John Street West under the Downtown Community Improvement Plan for $69,116.16. Pursuant to the following breakdown: $10,000 under Program 1, $50,000 under Program 2, Building Restoration, Renovation, and Improvement Grant, and $9,116.16 under Program 3, Planning Fees and Building Permit Grant. And the council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into the appropriate agreement with the applicants detailing terms and conditions of the grant approval, agreement process, and payment schedule subject to the parameters of the Town of BWG Downtown Community Improvement Plan, May of 2016. So a mover and a seconder for this. Deputy Mayor Leduc, Councillor Sandu. Comments or questions? Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Your Worship. I'm going to speak in favor of these three applications. I really think that's a great thing we're doing here. We were taking three buildings downtown and we're upgrading them. When you look at the Higgins, the Evans building, I always see as Evans building, and we're going to change the brick and the mortar there. I think that's a great opportunity for us to do a nice job to a building that's been around for a long time, got some great value to it, and nice to see some improvements done to that in the core of our downtown. So, and I look at the Jennings building. I mean, you know, Jim Jennings and all the kids go there, so that's a great opportunity for us again. Dealing with John Street, great to see that some infusion, and nice to see us be able to contribute to these changes and upgrades to these buildings. And then the one that really caught my eye was the last one where we're talking about the Tambor Building. I mean, when you read the application, they've been at that building for a few years now. They've taken a building you can see in the past, and they've upgraded and changed it. They've created 4 apartments in that building and some commercial space in the bottom. Great when you look at the, and we're making that little investment and getting that type of product out of it in our downtown core is, in my mind, a great investment from our part. There might not be the large numbers we look for, or that dollar for dollar value, but in the end, they're just 3 great projects, I think, that really enhance our downtown, and that's what this project speaks to, is bringing up the facades and the fascias of these buildings. So I'm certainly in support of all 3 applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Other comments? Councillor Lamb?
Yeah, I really believe that we get leverage because of what we're doing in the downtown and on some of the side streets and stuff like that. And we're raising the game. We're raising the game for everybody down there, and making it livable and a place you want to be. I think it's a good investment.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb. Any other comments? Otherwise, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So next is 12.3, Report of Economic Development, Industrial CIP Applications. So the recommendation is that report OED 2021-09, entitled Industrial Areas Community Improvement Plan Application IA CIP 2021-04, Ontario Barrier Wall, and Industrial Area CIP Application IA CIP 2021-05, Vintinsky, be received. And the council approved the Ontario Barrier Wall application for 2214 line 9 under the Industrial Areas Community Improvement Plan for $50,125 pursuant to the following breakdown. $125 under Program 3, Development Fees and Building Permit Grant, and $50,000 under Program 4, Building Restoration, Renovation and Improvement Grant. And the council approved the Vitinsky application for 10 Industrial Court under the Industrial Areas Community Improvement Plan for $50,842 pursuant to the following breakdown. $1,000 under Program 3, Development Fees and Building Permit Grant, and $49,842 under Program 4, Building Restoration, Renovation and Improvement Grant. And the council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into the appropriate agreements with the applicants detailing terms and conditions of the grant approval, agreement process, and payment schedule, subject to the parameters of the Town of BWG Downtown Community Improvement Plan, May of 2016. Mover and a seconder for this. Deputy Mayor Leduc and Councillor Scott, comments or questions? Deputy Mayor?
Again, I'm going to speak in favor of these again. 2 great applications, especially when you look at the OBW. Not here that long, start out with 30 jobs. We're through this expansion. They're hoping to move to 50 jobs. To me, that's money well spent, where they can regrade their property and create a larger storage space. And with the other one, the other application for Badinsky, another opportunity, where you could tell that they're into, I think it's glass, and the parking lot had the potholes and everything, and this is going to help them improve their business, and it's a good one for all of us to realize that this is what our industrial CIP program is all about, and it's about creating jobs, which they're both going to create jobs and opportunities in a climate where we're just coming out of COVID and we're kind of back into this COVID, but hopefully this will improve their opportunities in the future and create more jobs in our community. And this is money well spent again. So I've full support of these applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And you're right, it is good to see the extra jobs that are coming from these businesses, and that they are part of our community and want to improve their facility. And with that improvement will come more job opportunities. And I think that moving forward with our CIP program, that could be one of the criteria as well to judge the application, to see how many new jobs will be available with the applications. So any other comments or questions? So seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So with that, we'll move on to requests for staff reports. Is there any request for a staff report? Seeing none, there is no committee of the whole. We're finishing off the business of the town before the end of the year, and then our next council meeting is scheduled for, I guess, the third Tuesday in January, and we'll have committee of the whole at that meeting. So with that, we'll move on to item 15, committee minutes and recommendations. So 15.1, Anti-Racism Advisory Committee minutes, December the 8th, 2021. So the recommendation is that the minutes of the December the 8th, 2021 Anti-Racism Advisory Committee meeting be received. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Sandhu, Councillor Contois, comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it is carried. 15.2, Healthy Communities Advisory Committee minutes. So the recommendation is that the minutes of the December 15th, 2021 Healthy Communities Advisory Committee meeting be received. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Lamb, Councillor Ferragini, comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it is carried. So the next recommendation is that council proceed with a special council meeting regarding the implementation of a tree preservation program in Bradford, West Gwillimbury. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Ferragini, Deputy Mayor Leduc, comments or questions? Councillor Ferragini.
Thank you, Worship. We had a great productive meeting at the Healthy Community Committees. We've been talking at a few meetings now about a tree preservation bylaw. A lot of municipalities actually have it. That way we can try to keep our canopy in our municipality, especially the fact that we're growing so fast. A lot of our trees are coming down. So this is just the Healthy Community Committee is really behind this idea. And staff have been researching it as to all the municipalities surrounding us and what they do. And this was brought forward to us by our Director of Community Services, Terry Foran, so that we can bring it forward to council and have a workshop. That way we can get all of council's opinions and ideas going forward. And then they can finally come up with something that everybody's happy with.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ferragini. And yes, other municipalities have a tree preservation bylaw, and that it'd be interesting to see what other municipalities have and pick and choose and get the best one for our residents. So that sounds like a good idea to have a workshop. So with that, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. 15.3, Grants Committee minutes, December the 14th, 2021. So the recommendation is that the Grants Committee meeting minutes dated December 14th, 2021 be received, and that the grants as outlined below be approved. So the Bradford Air Cadets, $3,000, Bradford Board of Trade, $5,000, Chats, $2,600, Contact Community Services, $1,000, Cross Trainers Canada, $3,000, Danube Senior Center, $500. Eric's Right World of Scouting and Camping, $1,000. First Bradford Scout Group, $1,000. Impact Youth and Culture Center, $3,000. Rise Up BWG, $1,000. And the South Simcoe Arts Council is $1,000. So a mover and a seconder for this. Deputy Mayor Leduc, Councillor Orr. Comments or questions? And I will just comment that Councillor Scott has declared a conflict, so he's turned off his video. So, Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple of comments, Your Worship, that we dealt with a lot of grant applications. Every year we go through many of them, and it's very difficult to provide enough funds to everybody, and there's a lot of deserving opportunities out there. It's just we deal with a limited amount of funds, and we do the best we can to disperse them throughout our community as best we can. So I'm quite proud that we've been able to disperse this money to the grants committee to make sure that we help out in several areas that you can see. It's a lot of areas where we deal with children and underprivileged folks. So we did our best to deliver what we could. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Deputy Mayor. It was challenging, the list. There was quite a large amount asked for. And if you do notice on page 109 of the agenda, that some of the community organizations that aren't listed in the actual minutes, we are planning to give them funding out of the CCIF fund, which is the golf fund. There is still money of it in that from our golf tournament 2 years ago. So that the community initiatives, $1,000, the Bradford Wolves, $1,000. Get Rep D charity events, $500. And I just hope that any of the ones that have applied, and Swan of Bradford, $500, and While Living, $3,000 out of the CCIF fund. We're hoping to help these organizations out with some of the money from the golf fund. But this, the minutes that we have, that's taxpayers funding. There's $22,000 that we have set aside every year from tax revenue, and that is what the grants committee anyways came up with. So any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So item 16, new business. Don't think there's any. So bylaws. 17.1 is bylaw 2021-80, a bylaw to establish fees or charges for services of activities provided or done by, on, or behalf of the corporation of the town of BWG. 17.2, bylaw 2021-81, a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies. 17.3, bylaw 2021-82, a bylaw to authorize temporary borrowing to meet current expenditures. 17.4 is bylaw 2021-83, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2010-050 to rezone those lands located in part of lot 15, concession 5, municipally known as 563 Simple Road and 2575 line 6, town of BWG. Bylaw 2021-84, a bylaw adopt amendment number 30 to the official plan for the town of BWG. So the recommendation is the bylaws 2021-80, 2021-81, 2021-82, 2021-83, and 2021-84 be enacted. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Contois, Councillor Lamb, any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. So announcements. There is an announcement slide here. So Family First Night, Friday, December 31st. We still are planning to go ahead with the program from 5:30 to 9. And busker shows and leisure skating, mini fireworks display. And as of now, the ice surfaces will be 50%. So I don't know, that's 75 people, I think, that can skate at one time. But we are still planning to go ahead. And so far, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but I don't think you have to sign up ahead of time. It'll be first come, first serve as far as skating. But that might change if the COVID regulations change. Jeff?
That's right. Your worship will certainly monitor what direction comes from the health authority on this, or health unit rather. But we're very confident we can hold these events in a safe manner and still give an opportunity for our residents to have some fun on Christmas or New Year's Eve. I'm sure they'll have fun Christmas Eve as well.
Okay, any other announcements, Deputy Mayor?
I was just going to comment, Your Worship, that it's been very difficult for this council. You know, we certainly want to celebrate with everybody at this festive time of year, and with the COVID regulations, everything changing, it's made it very difficult. We've missed the Santa Claus parade again. You know, we're not going to have much. We're having a little event here on the New Year's Eve. I mean, we would love to do more. I'm sure, I hope our residents understand. We hope they have a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll be back hopefully next year. And if COVID's gone, hopefully we can do some things that are going to get together and enjoy each other's family and friends again. But under these restrictions, it makes it very difficult for us to gather in large groups. And we just can't do that. We can't support that. And we really apologize to everybody and hope that, we all do our part, and we ensure that we get rid of this COVID Omicron virus. So we wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and hopefully we get past this. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I guess we still are having a hiatus on parking tickets for, is that New Year's Eve? Is it Christmas Eve as well? I'm not sure whether, Rebecca, whether you... A couple of years ago, we brought this forward, and I believe that that's still in the case that people can park on the streets overnight on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Yes, both days, but we do ask if there is a snowfall event, if they remove their cars, if at all possible, in order to allow for operations if there's a snow event. But certainly, we allow greater flexibility in parking during the holidays.
Okay, thank you. So any other announcements?
Your Worship.
Councillor Sandu, yes.
Just for clarification, so if there is a snow event, can they move the vehicles to one of the public parking lots?
Yeah, the community center as well as the spaces to the very north of the leisure center are both still signed for overnight parking for residents, any residents in those two spots as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to motions. So, okay, we do have a motion, and I don't have it written down in front of me. So I wonder if I could get somebody to read it for me.
I can read it if you wish, Your Worship.
Yes, thank you, Rebecca.
So we have a motion against Quebec's Bill 21. Whereas Quebec's Bill 21 unfairly discriminates against public sector workers by directly infringing on their freedom of religion and freedom of expression rights as enshrined into law by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Whereas Bradford, West Gwillimbury is a growing community that is proud of its diversity and diligently working to tear down barriers, advance anti-racism work, and foster an inclusive community. Whereas municipalities across Ontario are passing motions condemning Bill 21. And whereas the Ontario legislature unanimously passed a motion in 2019 stating, Ontario and its government shall oppose any law that would seek to restrict or limit the religious freedoms of our citizens, and that Ontario's legislature affirms that we value our diversity and assert that we shall promote and protect free expression and the rights of religious minorities, consistent with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Sorry, I hope to get through this. I got a tickle. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Bradford West Gwillimbury Council declares its opposition to Bill 21 and supports efforts to see this discriminatory law overturned, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Francis Legault, Premier of Quebec, the Honourable Carol Mulroney, MPP York Simcoe, Scott Davidson, MP York Simcoe, AMO, and all other municipalities in Ontario.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. So a mover and a seconder for this. I think Councillor Scott and Councillor Sandu, and comments or questions. So, Councillor Scott, do you want to start off?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We wanted to bring this forward along with other municipalities across Ontario to make clear that we value living in a Canada where freedom of religion and freedom of expression are fundamental rights that should not be violated by our governments. It's something I think that unites people from left to right of the political spectrum, that these are freedoms we should have to be able to practice our faith or no faith in whatever way we see fit. And I think most people have been pretty upset to hear about the teacher who was fired from a school board in Gatineau because she wears a hijab. And whether it's a turban or a kippah or a hijab or a crucifix, you should be able to wear whatever you want. And I think for a town such as ourselves, which is growing and has our own public sector, we want to send a clear message that we're against this motion. The we're against this bill through this motion, and the Ontario legislature has already said as much in 2019. So we're joining other municipalities across Ontario. I think it was started in Brampton, and I'm happy to move this tonight. And I think we can send a clear message that we value our human rights as Canadians.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Scott. Other comments? Councillor Sandhu?
Thank you, Your Worship. As a proud Canadian, whenever I traveled outside of Canada, it makes me proud to hear people say that when they shortlist countries to migrate, Canada is on top of the list because one of the reasons they pick is that this country does not discriminate based on religion, caste, color, or sex, among others, and it's part of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And as a Canadian, when you hear that, it makes you proud. It shows you how much respect this country has worldwide. And then to have a Canadian provincial government try to restrict this, it is shameful, if I can say it frankly. And I fully oppose it. And I think they need to reconsider, and this shouldn't be allowed. You know, freedom of religion is one of our fundamental rights. So I'm very proud of this council that if we pass this tonight, that it'll be sending a message to the other municipalities to follow suit, and some already started, like Councillor Scott mentioned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sandhu. Deputy Mayor Leduc.
So let me start off with saying that I support this. I don't support Bill 21. There's no way. I'm a proud Canadian also, and I would never ever think that we have to worry about religion, or we should have their freedom of religion all the way. But my issue is that I'm in Ontario. That's Quebec. I don't need to go tell Quebec what to do, and I hope Quebec doesn't come and tell me what to do. It's up to the people of Quebec to deal with it and do their thing in Quebec. You know, I get upset when I have people telling us where we need to put the Bradford bypass, and they're not even from around the area, and they come and make motions and tell us that the Bradford bypass should be this, and you know, the environmentalists tell us this. They don't even live in the area, and they tell us what to do. This is where I see this is it's really, I'm a municipal councillor. The federal government has the full powers to revoke that Bill 21 if they want, and that's up to the feds. I mean, you could send a message to Mr. Davidson and all of our federal MPs and make them understand that we're not in support of Bill 21, but I don't need to have a cross-border issue with Quebec and Ontario, and you know, municipalities want to go out and do this. That's fine. I certainly, don't get me wrong, I don't support Bill 21. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I certainly value the freedom of religion. I'm a Catholic, and I want to display my religious ceremony when I want to do that. So I don't support it, but I still think it's not my place to be writing motions based on laws that are being passed in Quebec. It's not where I want to be. I'm a municipal councillor, so I'll support this tonight, but I'd like to stay within my area where I need to be, and that's we focus on Bradford issues, and we focus on areas around us. I don't need to worry about what's happening over in Russia or anywhere else. Or I know it's our country, don't get me wrong, but I have the right to stay away from Quebec and not go visit Quebec if I want. I can keep my tax dollars right here and not do tourism there. So I think that's the biggest message we can send to them, is hurt them, the economy by not visiting Quebec. Really, that'll send a strong message. But I just, I don't disagree with this. I just think that it's not my place to go tell them what to do in Quebec. It's their business, and the people of Quebec, I'm sure, will tell their government. And like I say, the feds have the right to. So I will vote in support of this, though. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other comments or questions? I guess it comes down to the clout of municipal councils, and that it's that Councillor Scott and Councillor Sandu spoke eloquently about the reasons why that we should be stepping up and trying to make changes wherever we can, and that I think that in this case that I'm certainly going to support the motion. And I do hear what the deputy mayor is saying for certain items and things like that. We have to be careful, but with this, that I think we're well within our rights to send a message. So, Councillor Sandu.
Thank you, Your Worship. I too understand where Deputy Mayor is coming from, because it bothered us when we had motions against Bradford bypass. But any given day, I would stand up to any racism. And we can't compare that to a bypass coming into a town. If this was a matter of infrastructure issue in Quebec, I agree. But this is standing up for people's human rights. And I don't care if it's in Ottawa, I don't care if it's in Quebec or anywhere else in this country or in the world. And if I am in a position to speak up, I will speak up and do my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sandu. So we've had a good discussion. So the recommendation is before us, the motion. So I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And those opposed? Nobody is opposed. So with that, the motion carries. So with that, we'll move on to item 20, confirm proceedings. So the recommendation is that bylaw 2021-85, a bylaw to confirm proceedings of the council meeting dated December 21st, 2021, be enacted. Mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Lamb, Councillor Ferragini, all in favor? And it is carried. An adjournment recommendation that the meeting is hereby adjourned at 7:45 p.m. A mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Scott, Councillor Orr, all in favor? And it is carried. So thank you, everybody, and the best of the holiday season, and have a Merry Christmas, and stay healthy, I guess. Stay healthy, that's the main thing, but have a great holiday period. So thank you, everybody.